The KyuRanger stuff is up. The KyuRanger stuff is up. You gotta review it. What do you think of it? You know, I was kind of pleased with myself that I only spent a half hour. Oh, Ava, half hour unboxing the thing. I was kind of pleased with myself. Turns out the day that I recorded this, not the day that I posted it, but the day that I recorded opening this thing up for the first time, all the photos, the official stuff for Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger, the 41st Super Sentai series, popped up on that particular day. The first 3 comments on the, I can't call it an unboxing because I didn't get it in a box, but the overview of the Beetle Battle Base, that happened. You know, that stuff popped up, and I'm like, the first 3 comments are, Ava, are you going to talk about them? Of course I'm going to talk about them. Just who the hell do you think I am? Which is incredibly arrogant of me to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. So yeah, I needed a little time to kind of soak it in. Nobody actually commented on the base. It's kind of the thing that kills me. So nobody commented on it. I actually looked at a couple of other people reviewing it, and they're like, "Oh, it should only been $25, and it's just a hollow box." And, well, it's a kind of a hollow box, but it's a convincing hollow box. What else is a box but hollow? I know. What else is a box that's hollow? Well, these are not hollow. No. Why does that look backwards on my screen? That's strange. Because it looks like a 5 on my screen here. What? Oh, mirror, right. Okay. Yeah, logic, Ava, logic. Might as well. So, yeah, these are, actually, no, I'm going to do this slightly differently, just because I can. And I have an editing program now. I can actually do shit like this. So, this was our anniversary series. And, you know, this is, it's so weird looking at the numbers backwards on my screen. Are they backwards on your screen? Whatever. So anyways, you know, like I said a couple of weeks ago, this is as far as I was gonna go. And, you know, the more I look at this thing in this combined form, Wild Tosai King, as it is right here, I still like Wild Tosai King. You know, kind of everything else leading up to it, And people are going to like, well, Ava, if you dislike the cube thing so much, then, you know, why did you get this thing? Well, I got this thing because it's this big, bulky motherfucker. That's why I got it. Because it looks good in this form. No, it's actually a little, I mean, like the cannon here, this pops off easily. That could have been engineered slightly differently, although I'll forgive it because this is not a major component. But definitely the waist joint could have been done differently. Yes, it did look better if you flipped it around, but I, you know, like I said in the previous video, and I like this. This is satisfying to me. This is good because this looks like something out of Super Sentai. This looks like the thing that I've been covering, or that I've been following for umpteen number of years, and it's already beginning to show signs of wear and tear. One of the black stripes on the 5. I know it looks like a 2 on your screen. A backwards 2, I guess. But anyways, one of those black lines actually started scratching off, and that was like only a few weeks ago that happened. So, but I'm ready to move on away from cubes as mecha. I suppose somebody tried to tell me that it's not that Bandai Plex and to a degree Toei went full derp on us, and they're trying to be oversimplified. This is what somebody else told me, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. It's not that they were trying to be oversimplified, although that is a factor. Undoubtedly, that's a factor, because the fewer parts that you need to manufacture, the cheaper something is. Fact of life. But it was an intentional choice, not just because it was easy to manufacture, but rather because Bandai was pointing out
well, our toys are getting so simple that maybe we should just make a parody of it. You guys are always complaining about blocks of plastic, so you know what? We'll give you a block of plastic.
Someone tried to tell me that. To a degree, I can understand it. I still don't like Jewel King. Jewel Wild is still pretty fun. Tosai Jewel is, it's okay. It's all right. And then this thing still has no footprints. It still has real tiny feet, and for whatever reason, the weapons are unfolded on the side. So, I mean, it looks good. And this cord is making so much noise. It looks good, but it's not necessarily the best engineering. So I give this a few passes, and which we all do. I'm not going to forgive them for making cubes, and I'm still not entirely happy about how they dealt with the entire season. And these are the only toys I've gotten from it. These are the only toys I'll ever get from it. The only one at this point I'm even remotely considering getting would be the phone. And even then, I'm kind of done with it at this point. I don't need it. I don't care. It's ironic though that I haven't watched a Super Sentai series with my own eyes since, well, I saw 15, 20 episodes of Ninja, but I was kind of done. I wasn't happy with it. But before that, the last Super Sentai I actually sat down and watched, whether they had a good toy line or not, was Gokaiger, which was 5 years ago. Was it? Yeah, it was 5 years ago. And I wasn't entirely thrilled with the toy line there. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I wasn't thrilled with it. So, I've been filled with the better part of 10 years. Almost 10 years. Because KyuRanger, like, much as I respect Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger, certainly as a television program, and the toys, simple, but they get the message across. Fair enough. I don't like all the toys, and Site.io was a disaster, in my opinion. But, I mean, I can kind of live with it. But, and then there was KyuRanger, which, the thing about KyuRanger, and Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger, is that it felt like they were doing Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger all over again. So it felt like a parody. It felt like a joke. It felt like it was being lighthearted, and indeed it was intentionally produced and written and directed to be so and acted. We scratched our heads very much over the engines, the engine casts or case. Casts. I'm sorry. The engine casts, we didn't quite understand that, so we got vehicles with animal heads on the front that talk, or kind of do, or kind of don't. You know, what's up with that? But it's a parody, and it's never really happened before, so okay. KyuRanger, we'll let you have that. And then the following year was... What was the following year? Was it Shinkenger? I think it was Shinkenger, yeah. Oh yeah, it would have been Shinkenger, because the year after that would have been Goseiger, which I'm told had a good had a good storyline, had a good series. The TV series was respected even if it wasn't great. But the toy line was proper crap. In fact, the only toy I still have from KyuRanger, from Goseiger, is the Gosei Blaster, the gun, which I still think is, like, it has absolutely, I've detached the Gosei Blaster from that show, just because everything about that show, everything about that toy line was just, and then the gun was really cool. It was really, like, it was ridiculously cool. A lot of people will look at me like, what's wrong with you, Abe? I thought you disliked Goseiger. Well, I do dislike Goseiger. I just like the Gosei Blaster. The thing is cool. The gimmick was nice. The way it moves around. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I like that. That worked out well. That worked out nicely. But Goseiger was, what, 3 years ago, something like that. And I never watched it. I tried to watch 2 episodes of KyuRanger and then I was done. And that's so. And I didn't see any of Go Buster. It's actually getting to the point. I've watched so little. I've collected so little from Super Sentai in the last, I'll say, 8 years. I've actually forgotten the order of the shows. I've forgotten the names of some of them. I don't even know the theme song to Go Buster. I don't know the theme to Go Buster. I don't know the theme to, I know Go Sager. Go Sager had a good theme. They had a nice opening theme. But, I mean, so I actually start stumbling when I try to think of, which one came first, which one came afterwards. And that kind of starts around KyuRanger, because I started losing track around KyuRanger. But, I mean, I still hold out hope for Super Sentai. It's still there. Because regardless of blocky pieces of plastic, and just Cube Shark is just the easiest one for me to grab onto. Or it's the most convenient one. Despite the fact that it's a cube, I know that Super Sentai survives. Because this does look like a shark. Well, I mean, this looks like the animal it represents. Except for the screw holes on that side and the not screw holes on this side. I still have hope. I still have faith in Super Sentai. It has been shaken. Make no mistake, my faith has been shaken in Super Sentai. But I'm also at a point where I've gotten to a point where do I even want to know about the next one? The rumors that are floating around, it's always, it's going to be animals, or it's going to be animals mixed with vehicles. And that's pretty much what we've had for the last 4 or 5 years. Or it's going to be batteries on dinosaurs that don't even transform. It's going to be the head comes off for some reason. That's your combination gimmick. What? Or it's going to be... Engine Souls was a nice idea, but Engine Souls was kind of the prototype. What was interesting about Engine Sentai KyuRanger is that it really merged the... I can't say creativity, but it merged the compatibility. That's the word I'm looking. It merged the compatibility. Sit up, damn it, Ava. Actually, I'm going to tilt my camera down just a little more. KyuRanger merged the compatibility between human scale and Zord scale. Yes, I said Zords. Because the engine casts. Is that right? Or maybe it was Shinkinger. Shinkinger definitely did this as well. But I'll go with KyuRanger. KyuRanger was one of the first series to have handheld roleplay stuff that the Rangers would interact with on a daily basis. The Engine Souls. They would plug them into their weapons. They'd plug them into the Go Rotor GT. They would do things like that. And then those exact same Engine Souls would interact with the engines, the engine casts. You put the engine soul in the engine cast, and magically the engine cast, which was inanimate except when you put the engine soul inside, and even then they put that little sci-fi, you can turn invisible, but you can't fire when cloaked. They had to put some sort of a time limit, something or other in there. Well, they can only have the soul can only be inside the cast for 5 minutes, because that's usually the amount of time that they actually spend on camera as a giant robot. The fights only last about 5 minutes. Anyways, my point is, KyuRanger, then they said, at the same time, not only were the engine souls, which are actually way over there, and I don't want to get up and get one, because that's not the point of this video, the engine souls not only powered the weapons, the roleplay stuff, but it also powered their henshin. Well, yeah, that's part of roleplay. But it also powered. The mecha, and the mecha had to deal with them as well. Shinkenger does exactly the same thing. You've got the discs, Hiden discs. Hiden Disuku. You've got the discs that attach to the Shinkenmaru. Was that the main sword that they use? I think that's the Shinkenmaru, something like that. To the sword, and they would interact with it, or it'd plug into their weapons. By the way, why didn't we get the yellow and the pink weapons? I mean, a fan and a chakram. You know, those are neat. Why didn't we get one of those? Why didn't we get the three-sided boomerang? You know, that would have been awesome. And the water arrow was you know only about that tall. It was only that big, and and that was it, which was really fucking disappointing. But then, in addition to being attached to the weapons, part of the role play, except when they completely ignored it when it came to Mojikara, which calligraphy was a neat idea. But then when the Hiden discs were also a good idea, but putting the two together, why were you not just using your calligraphy brush to summon your swords? Why were you not using your calligraphy brush to summon your weapons, to transform, to create your Zords, origami? Why were you not using your calligraphy brush for everything? That would actually have been very educational. Well, the reason they probably didn't do it is because our calligraphy brush was shit toy. And they knew it. They knew it. They knew it was not gonna. Now, people have swore up and down, Ava, the Shoto phone is an amazing toy. No, it wasn't. It was a piece of crap. No, it was neat in concept, but I could only forgive it for so much. I sold mine. And then the Judenchi, the beast batteries in KyuRanger, it's the same thing. Not only do they power the weapons, but they also power the mecha. There's this trend in Super Sentai of trying to get your toys of both your mecha and your roleplay to be compatible with each other. Even if the two don't touch each other, you need to have some medium that can go between them. Engine souls, Judenchi, Hiden discs, cubes? What did they use? I don't think okay, so that doesn't count. Fucking Ranger keys. You know, Ranger keys, technically, those went back and forth as well. There's this need. And I suppose, in a way, it's good. Because Super Sentai kind of had, well, you had your roleplay stuff, and your costumes, and your weapons, and then you had your Zords. And then it just kind of left at that. There was no... From 1979 up until... Shinkenger, I guess. Either Shinkenger or Goantra. I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember which is which anymore. I saw all of Goantra, but I didn't see all of Shinkenger. I saw about half of Shinkenger. It wasn't until around mid-2000s, mid-2000-aughts, that Bandai and Plex made a dedicated effort to get these two mediums to talk to each other, to find some sort of in-between. I keep pulling out the cube because I can't get I keep pulling out Shark because I can't get the Tiger, but I also like Shark a lot more. These are also, the other thing they did is to try to say that the cubes, or that the mecha, when they're not in a fight, are sentient. The origami did this, the engines did this, the cube animals, they do this. They're all sentient, but they're also human scale. They're small and compact. The origami are very much the predecessors to these guys, by the way, because they compact down into a shape. Well, the first 5 were like that. So, and I'll be honest, when Shinkenger came out, I was thrilled with the idea. I thought it was a good idea that the mecha, not just that they magically kind of grow up to big size, but that you could hold as a kid, which I was very much not at the time, but as a kid, you can actually see the origami on the screen, on the show, and it's playing around in the actor's hand. CGI is a wonderful thing, by the way. And that, to me, was neat. Same thing with the engine casts. They did exactly the same thing. And so when the cubes came along, it's pretty much the same thing. It is kind of a neat thing, and they kind of have their own personalities, so they're just kind of doing their thing in the background. And the actors don't even have to look at them. They're just doing something funny, just to distract the audience. Like, hey, look, it's sentient. Hey, woo. And then we're going to use our magic on it, and we're going to give it the command to grow bigger, bigger, bigger. Or no, what is it? Thunder, thunder, thunder. Grrr. But at what cost? I was pissed off that cubes were the 40th anniversary. Cubes, that's all well and good. You want to do the Bakugan thing, that's all well and good. I actually thought about getting a couple of Bakugan. I never saw the show. I never did the card thing. I never did the toy thing. Like, I actually thought about getting a couple of them because it's the Pokemon equivalent of a mecha that's just in a simple compact shape. You pull it out of your hand, and it's not only is it in scale to the character, but then it would blow up to full size. Away from the character, whatever it is. And some of them could combine and some of them couldn't. Like, that was a neat idea. That still kind of works for me. But I'll say it, hopefully for the last time, cubes have absolute blocks. Cube, block, same thing at this point in my mind. Have absolutely nothing to do with the 40th anniversary of Super Sentai. 40 years. 1975 to 2016. Obviously, there's a 1-year gap in there because they took a break for Spider-Man. Spider-Man. But, Noisy Garage Door. But, and other than this, this crossover movie with Kamen Rider and the previous year, and then, obviously with the KyuRanger, which is the next series, they're going to have a cameo, which is now the new thing that Bandai Plex and Toei are getting involved in, is to do the crossover from the last year and mix it up with a crossover for the following year. But other than that, the whiz-bang pow of Gokaiger was so high, because you had cameo after cameo after cameo after nod after Easter egg after you had Akiba Ranger. I suppose Super Sentai was and is unable to do, and I suppose this also applies to Kamen Rider, which I don't follow very closely, is not able to do, wasn't able to do what the competition, specifically Ultraman, was able to do. Ultraman, and Maxilla 1954, please tell me if I got this wrong, but as I understand it, most, but not all, Ultraman series, Ultra series, take place in the same universe, on the same kind of Earth. There's only a few occasions where it's a different Earth, it's an alternate universe. But I suppose that once you've done Gokaiger, whether it was pirate themed or not, doesn't matter. And by the way, I'll say it again, the pirate theme was not a good idea. I didn't like the pirates. Like, I liked the searching for the lost powers of the Rangers. That was good. Just pirates, I didn't like that. On a lot of levels, I didn't like that. I suppose that Gokaiger was just so high in the nostalgia factor and seeing the Rangers fight and seeing the Zords fight in one of their movies at least, that when you come to your 40th anniversary, how do you top that? They didn't make any noise. And Ninja, believe it or not, Ninja was actually better at the tribute to the previous decades, the previous heroes, because they had several ninjas came in to help the Ninja, and then they had their movie, and then they had a crossover with, was it Ghost? Kamen Rider Ghost, yeah, which was not entirely a bad idea. I still like the idea of having a Super Sentai series. I don't remember which one it was, but it was like within the last 2-3 years, there was an idea of having a Super Sentai series where the villains are ghosts. Oh, it was Tokime Sentai Go Buster, because the proper translations had not come out yet. And we thought at the time it was going to be Ghost Buster. That's what we thought the show was going to be, which was, it was supposed to, that the heroes were going to chase ghosts. Ghosts were the villains. I still think that's a good idea, by the way. Get to work on that, Bandai. Please do it better than what they did this previous summer in American cinema. Please do better. So, yeah. But Ava, you got to see the new stuff from KyuRanger. Do I want to see the new stuff from KyuRanger? Which is what I've taken, almost a half hour to reach this point. Do I dare drag myself through the mud on that again? 40th anniversary. Now, how do you top what Gokaiger did, regardless of whether it's pirates or not? How do you top it? You don't top it with blocks of plastic. That's what you don't do. So I'm going into this. So here it is, coming full circle. Ava, you need to see it, Ava. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Regardless of when it came out, when I did my commentary on the Beetle Battle Base. I don't know if I can go through that again. The disappointment, the frustration. Now, as of this video, as of this point right now, as I'm recording this, I have not seen I haven't seen video. I don't know if there is. I've seen no photos. I've seen the title. There was a teaser from JE Fusion. I'd actually been watching JE Fusion like a hawk for the last month and a half, because ordinarily the Super Sentai, we find out the title of Super Sentai for the following year. We find out in late September, early October, when the patents are filed over in Japan, and there's a leak that happens somewhere in the legal department of Bandai Plex Toei, one of those three. And we find out, okay, this is what it's going to be called. We don't know anything about that beyond that, but, we find out then. And, in October, we usually start getting, last year, for KyuRanger, we already had the big size scans of, today is December 4th, 2016. By early October, I think it was October 2nd or 3rd of last year, we already had the full-size magazine scans of KyuRanger. We knew what the show was going to be called. There was rumor, not confirmation like we usually have, but there was rumor that the 41st Super Sentai series was going to be space-themed. Now, to be clear, Denji Sentai KyuRanger, which was in 96, 97, thereabouts, the vehicles, the mecha, were space-themed. But the theme, the overarching theme of KyuRanger was not space. It was digital technology. That's what KyuRanger was about. It wasn't until Power Rangers in Space came along, and believe it or not, they actually did a very good thing. And they said, why do you have these spaceship mecha and these spaceship surfboards that don't turn into motorcycles for some weird reason, and not have the show take place in outer space? Have things happening in outer space. Have the Rangers go to other planets. I often I still wonder if Super Sentai would even, if Bandai Plex Toei would even have, if the industry would have the capacity to visit other planets on a weekly basis. Not quite the Star Trek degree, but like, we're fighting an alien on this planet for 1 week, and then we're back on Earth for a couple of weeks after that, and then we take a trip to another planet, or maybe there's a 3 or 4 story arc that takes place on this one planet, and I'm starting to spittle all over the place, I'm sorry. I'm getting anxious. Kind of a, like I said, because Super Sentai is very focused not only on Earth, But it's also very narrowly focused on kind of Tokyo. Like, it's assumed that's where the vast majority of these Super Sentai take place. There's a few exceptions, not many, but at least Power Rangers had the wherewithal to place their different continuities in different cities, regardless of whether they were filmed in Sydney, Australia, or New York, or Los Angeles, California. Either way. No, they Wait, does Power Rangers film in Australia or New Zealand? New Zealand. I done fucked that up. I'm sorry. But, alright, so, I don't want to be let down again, is my point. I don't want to see more Cubes. Cubes was and is the low point. I thought that Gosager was the low point. I thought that Headers were the low point. No, I was wrong. Cubes were the low point. Some of those cubes worked out, some of them didn't. Regardless, Cubes was the low point. The blocky plastic. That's the low point for me. That's the point where I get more of a kick out of a 20-year-old hollow box with a bunch of little mini vehicles on the inside. I got more of a kick out of this than I did out of what's that called? Juo King. I got that 3 months ago at this point. And I got way the hell more rays out of my Levi's on this thing than I did out of Juo King. And, this is from a series that's 20 years old, and they don't make Metal Hero anymore. I've never seen Metal Hero. I'd like to see Metal Hero. And I've never been I'm not a strong fan of Kamen Rider. I like the idea of Kamen Rider, but I think I kind of learned about it too late to be able to appreciate it too much. I think Kamen Rider Amazons is a good response to the needs, the necessity of some of the older fans who had grown up with it when they were kids, and I don't know if I can put myself through that again. Super Sentai has its trends, but I ache for the Lightspeed Zords. I ache for the Dino Zords. I ache for the Zeo Zords. I ache for Origami. Yeah, the Origami weren't done the best, but I'll give them credit. That's what I want out of my Super Sentai. I don't want the parts formers of Go Buster, and I don't want the blocks of plastic. The minimalist aspect that Super Sentai, Bandai, Plex, and yes, Toei have been aiming for the last 7 or 8 years. And I don't want an electronic gimmick, collectible electronic chips that cost $15-$20 each. And, you have to get 24 of these things. And if you don't get it, then you're not cool. And there's a vast majority of them, they use one to summon their Zords, they use one to henshin, they use one for a special attack, they use one to take a shit, they use one to activate their ultimate attack. I mean, this worked on KyuRanger. This worked on Shinkenger. Because it had never been done before. In Super Sentai, it had never been done before. And the repetition of disappointment, it wears away at you. Okay, maybe next year they'll figure it out. Maybe next year they'll figure it out. Maybe next year they'll figure it out. In 2014, wow, Ava, can you get to the fucking photos already? In 2014, ow! Boy. I don't exactly have the best setup here, folks. There was a hell of a thing that happened on the other side of the pond. Please don't break on me. when this dropped in on the internet. I think this is Cosmos Saver. I can't remember. And the frustration at Super Sentai got even bigger because, yes, this is what's missing. This is what's missing. This, there should have been, one, maybe two lights in it. Maybe a sound or two, whatever. But oh my God, people! This is what's missing! Not because it's space themed. I want to be clear. Not because it's space themed, although that certainly was a bonus. But this is what I want out of Super Sentai. This is what I signed up for in 1993 with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1. This right here. This is what happened with the Thunderzords. This is what happened with the Ninja Zords. This is what happened with the Zeo Zords. This is what happened with the Lightspeed Zords. This is what happened with the SPD Zords. This right here. Well, SPD Zords, they were kind of... Okay. And... in my opinion, this is also what happened with the Ninja Storm Zords. Whatever they're... I think they were still called Ninja Zords. I don't remember anymore. But this company that just kind of popped out of nowhere, and Audley's done other stuff before. As a matter of fact, there's an American branch of Audley as well, so they make other toys as well. I doubt that this will make it over to the U.S. just because whatever. But this is what I want. This is Super Sentai. And Audley basically flipped the bird at Bandai, Plex, and Toei and said, you guys are losing your audience, and this is why. And you know what? I absolutely agree with it. This is what I want out of Super Sentai. This right here. So... I look. Oh yeah. By the way, it's got solar panels on the back here that have transparent plastic on them. Yeah, they could have painted it a little differently, but I mean, and by the way, that's almost 2 feet. That's like 18 inches right there. It's fucking huge. It's great. I love it. And you know what? There's no collecting gimmick. There's no electronic chip that you plug into here, and then it makes a noise. There's no you have to plug this in here and spin the disc in order to get this cog to turn, 1 degree every minute or so. There's no electronics in here. The gimmick is transforming and combining. It's also not a clusterfuck like Go Buster was in the very first mecha. Like the final mecha, okay, whatever. That's going to happen. And it always has done that. Even the Ultimate Daijujin, all the original Ultrazord, MMPR Ultrazord, that one had a little bit of part swapping, but that's nature of the beast, literally. So this is part swapping, but it's part swapping that was very, very well done, and my arm is getting really sore. This is what I want out of Super Sentai. So I look at KyuRanger when it's finally confirmed. They said it was rumors of the space-themed Super Sentai. And I thought to myself, yeah, well, we've been wanting space-themed series for years. It's just another fan-made idea, whatever it is. You can see the bad fan art popping up at any time now, No, I'm sorry, that was rude of me. You're going to see fan art. You're going to see... I shouldn't have said bad. I should have said phony fan art, fake fan art of, the new series or whatever it is. And, but we've also wanted an all-insect theme. We thought last year with Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger, we thought, in October 2015, we thought that KyuRanger was going to have, they were going to be space-themed bugs, which sounds really fucking awesome, by the way. I was excited, and then it's just blocks. So now that I'm not abandoning Super Sentai. I've not given up on it. I still see a lot of potential. I don't want it to get lost in the gimmick. Now, KyuRanger ironically, doesn't have that kind of gimmick. The gimmick is the cube. Just the shape. And that was it. That was their gimmick. It wasn't an electronic gimmick. It wasn't a collector's gimmick. The little animal accessory things, whatever. But, they didn't have the cross-compatibility between the different things. The gun that they came up with where you take one cube off and you stick it on the backside, that was a nice idea, but I couldn't take it seriously. And, Bandai Plex Toy kind of lit the fire under us. Why do we not have an insect-themed Super Sentai yet? We're still waiting on that. And we still want the insect theme one. It doesn't have to be beetles necessarily, although we've had beetles and various insects over the years in Super Sentai. So, it's happened. And they are popular. The Go-Raijin from Ninpu Sentai KyuRanger, the Thunder Power Megazord from Ninja Storm, that's still a very, very popular, very, very expensive on the aftermarket. It's still to this day because of the cross-compatibility stuff that comes with it. We still want an insect-themed one. It turns out, yes, we actually are getting a space theme. We're finally getting up. I'm not going to say proper because I haven't seen it yet, but we're finally getting a proper return to a space themed Super Sentai. I will say now, without having seen any photos, without having seen the gimmick, thank you. Yes, we wanted a space theme. Thank you for giving it to us. Thank you. I don't know what anything looks like. I don't know what names are. I don't know. But we still want to see insects, and we still want to see dragons. I actually have a fan fiction that I've been, what's an appropriate analogy, that I've been cobbling together in my head for the last few years. Gaia Sentai KyuRanger is what I've come up with. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, KyuRanger or KyuRanger? I think it's KyuRanger. Yeah, KyuRanger. Something like that. Just because I haven't published anything. Or I haven't published, or I haven't put the fanfic anywhere out on the internet, so you're not going to be able to find it. But I've been, I want to have dragons, and so I have come up with my own Super Sentai team that's themed entirely around dragons and different aspects of it. So I'm still waiting for that, and visually it's a combination of MMPR movie. Not the 2017 movie, but the MMPR movie from 95. It's themed with that, and then the mecha are inspired by Magic King, but they also have some aesthetics mixed with KyuRanger. But it kind of has some story. It has story from like Geki Ranger and Magi Ranger, and there's basically a lot of stuff that I really like about Super Sentai, or at least when Super Sentai was still good. And no, there are no accessory mecha in my design either. No. But yeah, we want dragons, we want insects. We've got space, so let's take that one off the list. But we still need insects and dragons. And please don't bring in a random. Okay. Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger. Q. Not quite certain what Q is. I thought Q was Earth. So is it Space Sentai Earth Rangers? Because it's Chikyu Sentai 5-man, I think is what it was. I don't know. Okay, a little over half an hour. I'm scared. I'm anxious. It's not that I'm ready to give up on Super Sentai, but I don't want to be let down again. I really don't. And I want to get that out before I go into this. Gavin versus Deca Ranger. Ooh, now that I'll watch. So these images are all going to come courtesy of JE Fusion. Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger, first promo images of the team. What am I looking at? Whoa! Whoa! 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, 9 Rangers! What? Wow! That's a very fuzzy picture. Animals. Fucking animals. You couldn't leave it alone. Really? And it's officially confirmed we will have 9 core heroes from the series which are of planetary constellations. You know, I've often wondered if Super Sentai should do a theme based off of not constellations, although that is a good idea. But oh gosh, was it the 12? I can't think of what it's called. Not constellations. I'll put it in captions because I can't blank on it. But yeah, I wish it had been based off something like that. Shishi Red, which is a lion. Oh. Okami Blue, wolf. Kajiki, swordfish. Chameleon? Eagle, ox, scorpion, Libra. Hey, I'm a Libra. And Hibitsukai, silver. Ophinicus? I don't know. The show's collectible gimmick are in the form of spheres called Kyudama. Each hero will have Each hero will have corresponding Kyudamas with more to be collected, like the whale, the microscope. Microscope? What is that? They mean telescope, right? Or is it microscope? Hound, dog, Andromeda, and Perseus. Okay. Each hero will have a sidearm called the Seiza, Seiza Blaster, and weapons. The vehicles will be called Voyagers, with the first mecha of the series to be called KyuRanger. Okay, so that was the first leaked promotional image. Holy shit! There's 9 of them in the core team. Wow. And there's an Orange Ranger. And there's a Black Ranger and a Green Ranger at the same time. Wow. Just okay. I would like a return to just super mecha or super vehicles, like Bokinger was Bokinger, Deca Ranger, 5-man. The Go Machines? Go Machines or Go Machines? I just want non-animal themed mecha. That's what I want. I would like to see a return to that, but I guess they're insisting on animals. Although in this case it's constellations, and they're actually mixing it up with some stuff that are not animals. So, okay. Alright. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. God damn it, collecting gimmick. Okay. First quarter toy catalog. Oh boy. Here we go. What on earth? Whoa! What is that? What? Is that their Henshi device? It's a globe tilted. What is that? This globe-like jewels are called Kyudama, which are empowered by the constellation that is linked in each ranger. This will be next year's collecting gimmick, and 42 Kyudamas. Oh my God, it's like Ranger keys all over again. Ugh. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We'll go with it. I'm going to move this out of the way, stick this in the corner here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Kyudamas. Goddamn lion for the leader again. It's a lion, it's a tiger, it's an eagle, it's a falcon, it's a condor. It's a, whenever Red Ranger is an animal, it's always one of those 5. More than likely a lion or an eagle. I'm trying to think of other Sentai series where they didn't have... Oh, Phoenix. I forgot about the Phoenix, Magi Phoenix. Not Magi Phoenix. Yeah, there was that. There was that too. Ugh. That thing was a disaster. Magi Legend. Oh God. You know, do they even have lions in Japan? Like eagles, they've got those. Tigers, yeah, they probably have those. But like, do they even have lions in Japan? Like, aren't those like a... Okay. Mountain lions, maybe. Here we have the DX Seiza Blaster, which will function as the main transformation device for the 9 members of the KyuRanger. What am I looking at? It's all covered up in... Why is that giant text thing there? Thank God! It's not a cell phone! Oh, thank you! Oh, it's not a... It's not a cell phone! Thank you! Thank you! It's not a cell phone! Good! Good! It looks like a wrist-mounted device. Thank you! Thank you! Finally! Now, they had wrist-mounted changers. They had wrist-mounted changers in ToQger, but well, which I didn't like that, or at least I didn't like the. I'm torn on ToQger. Like, I wanted okay, I'm not talking about ToQger. No, it's ironic. I did talk about ToQger, but I got I got slapped with copyright infringement bullshit when I talked about ToQger. Okay. I wish that thing wasn't covered in that giant text thing, whatever the fuck that thing is, so that's really annoying, but it'll change eventually. But I can see the wrist strap, and I can see the handheld device in there. Oh, thank you. It's a wrist-mounted device, and it's not a goddamn cell phone. Thank you. All right. The Kyuza weapons, weapons of the 9 constellations, can transform into 9 different weapons that are Ranger-specific. Sword, axe, slasher. What? What's a slasher? I think they mean dagger. Sickle, spear, crossbow, rapier, whoa, claw, and shot. What's a shot? What's a shot? Okay, now for the picture. Whoa, 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 whoa. Who cares about the belt thing? Like, that's... Oh my God. You know, it's still a little fuzzy. We can't see the details, but I have often liked... I mean, I've actually got... Let's see, I'm going to pull this up so I can see what I'm doing. I didn't think about that when I said it. Let's see, how do I do this? I liked the idea of the multifunction weapon that everybody has. I like the idea of this thing. This is still cool. Depending on the the gimmick of that particular... how do I open this thing? Here it is. Regardless of the gimmick, I like the multifunction weapon aspect of things, where, it can be one thing in one mode, and then you transform it into another mode. I still like that. That was neat. And that's why I got this, and that's why I still want to get one of those trans daggers from, what's it called? I still want to get, from, flippin' Lost Galaxy. Why am I blanking on what that's called from, Gingaman? I can't think of what it's called. But anyways, yeah, I like the multifunction things. And oh my god, what is that? What is that? And this thing has 9 different modes to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my god, there's just 8 right here. Now, it's probably just in the direction that you hold it, because the picture's not very clear here. But oh my god! Oh, I forgot, a rapier is a sword. I forgot about that. Alright. So it looks like I don't have the thing memorized yet, but it looks like the spheres, what are they called? The Kyudama. It looks like the Kyudamas will plug into just above the handle, they'll plug into the front there. And that thing turns, and that pops up out of there. Oh. Wow. Wow. Just wow. This is good shit. This is good shit right here. Why is that text on there? The big white right through the middle. And then the pictures of the Rangers. Wow, they really... There's that guy on the far right, number 9. I don't recognize him. Good lord, that Black Ranger. Oh my god. He's obviously based on Taurus the Bull. But he's so bulky compared to all the others. I wonder if he's going to be like a robot or something. Green Ranger is female. Okay, that's the first time. First time a Green Ranger has been female. I think. Yeah. There's going to be how on earth? This is... I think the most number of Rangers on screen at any given point, other than the Legend War in Gokaiger. Other than that, I'm just talking individual teams, not anniversary shows or whatever, or team-ups. I'm just talking core team, or just the team by itself. The only time they've had more than 7... Is that right? Because KyuRanger had 7. Was Deca Ranger. Deca Ranger had 10. And even then, it was a one-time thing. It was one episode. And you never saw all the Deca Ranger assembled at the same time. I think Magi Ranger, let's see, because he had Magi Mother, Wolzard, Magi Shine. I don't think Luna Gel counts. I don't think she counts. Yeah, so it might have been 8. I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah, so Magi Ranger had 8. KyuRanger had 7. Was there 8, 5, 6? 7? Yeah, had 7. But the core team is either 3 or 5. Well, there's also Abba Ranger, which had a core team of 3, and there was 1 additional. So that was a weird season, though. So whatever. 9 Rangers. That first henshin. I wonder if they're going to set this up so, like, only 5 Rangers appear on screen at any time. And it's just going to be mixing and matching over the course. Like, I don't think they're going to have all 9 on screen at the same time in every single episode, because that's a pretty damn big effort. Because coordinating a fight between 5 or 6 regular Rangers, including 6th Ranger, or an additional hero, that's usually a difficult thing to do. I mean, they've got it down to a T at this point, but how are they going to do 9 Rangers as a core? And they've pretty much eaten up all the colors they've got available to them. Why are they 2 yellow? Oh, because one's gold. Never mind. Oh my god, I mean, it's going to be like Ranger of the Week. Forget Accessory Zord of the Week. We're gonna start talking about Rangers of the Week. That's going to be the new thing. I also like that there's a little bit of other than the Black Ranger, there's a little bit of modification in each of the other than Helmet and other than the Black Ranger, who is. I'm wondering if the Black Ranger is like an android or something like that, or maybe the Black Ranger is an alien. I don't know. Maybe he's the mentor. I don't know. Wow, that is... And there's an Orange Ranger, and a Yellow Ranger, and a Gold Ranger, and a Silver Ranger. It's not a White Ranger, but it's a Silver Ranger. That's batshit insane. I can't even imagine that. I don't know where to go with it. Okay. Oh, looks like we're getting into Mecha. And they're all covered up in shit. Wow, it's Washi Pink? What is pink again? Oh, it's on the other page. I'll look that up later. Okay, it looks like we're getting into the mecha now. Okay, so our core team is okay. So we're gonna have a core team. All right, they're vehicles and the other thing that I forgot to mention is that when you try to integrate a common theme between all of your accessories and specifically your mecha, when you try to get the same thing to do something different in each of the mecha, you ultimately end up sacrificing. Maybe I should have gone this way instead. You ultimately end up sacrificing a lot of the vehicle because, like, you could pull this off, stick it in the role play, whatever, but then you're kind of left with this. But then this is completely dependent on this to be able to interact with it in all of its forms. And more often than not, this accessory or this accessory mecha or just the core mecha ends up suffering as a result. You lose functionality, you lose the ability to transform. That's also something that Super Sentai has been doing for a number of years now that worries me terribly. Excuse me. So, for these very fuzzy first pictures of the Zords, whatever they're called, it doesn't really look like a lion, though. That looks like an eagle. Maybe it should have been a griffin. I can't think of any lions or tigers that had wings. Because a griffin had the body of a tiger or a lion, but it had the wings of an eagle. Wings and head of an eagle is what a griffin is. Maybe they're trying to go for Chimera. Except the Chimera was the head. Was it the head and body of a lion and the tail of a snake? A serpent of some kind? I think that's what well, I think it had 3 animals mixed in. Oh, that's interesting. 13579 is your core team. I love the fact that black and green... Oh, no, wait a minute. What am I talking about? Goanger had black and green at the same time. Derp. Okay. And, whoa. their vehicle, or what are these? Wait, what? I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at here. Is that a vehicle or a... What am I looking at? Our Megazord. It's the Green Lantern Corps. Wow. I hope there's another picture other than this. Please tell me there's another picture. The Voyagers will combine to form their primary mecha called KyuRanger and will have two modes. Think Time Robo and Time... Oh my god, they're triple changers! Oh my god, they're triple changers! Ah! So they form a vehicle and an animal. No. No. Wait. They form an animal... A humanoid form? Is that what these are? Because the problem is Power Rangers has been doing this for years. Well, they had an action figure, or they had, a Ranger figure that could turn into the animal, could turn into an equivalent, even if it wasn't, something you saw on screen. They've been doing it for years. So I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, what am I looking at here? Are these action figures or are these the Zords themselves? Because you can see Scorpio in the top right corner, and I don't know what the bird is bottom left. I don't know the constellations that well. Oh my god, oh my god. Going back to the... I'm getting a feeling of... The problem is these Sub-Zords, they're not... Or the Voyagers. What a great name, by the way. These Voyagers, the picture is grainy, regardless of the resolution in the video here. For me, it's difficult to see it, because obviously the person who did this original scan, the picture was very small, and they blew it up. They increased they made it larger, and then they posted it to the internet. So it's difficult to tell, but what I'm looking for is where limbs are going. How simple are those transformations? I'm just flipping back and forth between the Voyagers and... What's our mecha called? KyuRanger. I just gotta remember that. A Qdama special set will be sold with minifigures, which will also serve as the cockpit for the KyuRanger. Huh? The what? What am I looking at here, people? What am I looking at? The Voyagers will combine to form their primary mecha called KyuRanger, and will have two modes. Think Time Robo from Time Ranger. Well, that can't be... I don't know. Are the individual mecha triple changers? animal, human form, and well, I say animals. Some of these are not animals, but I'll just say symbol or avatar. I'll say avatar form. So they have an avatar form, a humanoid form, and then a limb form. Is that what they're trying to say here? I think this could have been worded a little differently. Good Lord. You know, I was expecting super vehicles for a space theme, but if you want to deal with constellations, okay. I can live with that. Now, I'm not expecting 42 mecha, although there might be a few. I'm pretty sure there's a few repaints in there. I think the record for the most number of original mecha designs that have ever been done still belongs to KyuRanger, where they had was it 15? I can't remember how many there were, but I want to say KyuRanger has the most. No, let's think here. It wouldn't be Hurricaneger, because Hurricaneger, I don't count the little weapons as mecha, because they're weapons. KyuRanger, or no. KyuRanger. I'm sorry. KyuRanger, they only had 10, but then they had a bunch of accessory mechas, so that doesn't count. Because those are weapons. They're not piloted. I suppose when I say mecha, I'm talking about piloted, or controlled by the Rangers, not an accessory that pops out of nowhere and then it just attaches itself to the Megazord. That's not what I'm referring to. So I want to say that the most number of mecha subzords that's ever happened still belongs to KyuRanger, and I want to say there were 12 or 15 in total. You had at least 3 chest. No, I'm sorry. You had 4 chest components, and that includes Galligator. And then you had a bunch of arms, and then you had 2 pairs of legs. And that's not including repaints, such as Gao Kong, or Gao Hunter Blue Moon, or Gao Panda. So that's not including those. But it does include Soulbird, which technically, yes, is a power animal. No, it's not. What am I talking about? Is it? No, is Soulbird a power animal? I don't remember all of a sudden. Anyways, I don't think that if it's true that there's 42 constellations this is based off of, I don't think they're going to make 42 Zords. I think there'd be a lot of repaints in there. We might start getting into the whole Combiner Wars thing that they did for Transformers in 2015. They might end up doing that, which I don't want them to do, because there were a shit ton of repaints in there and nobody liked it. But wow. Now again, the detail of these Voyagers is still it's still fuzzy to me, so I can't see the details very well. But wow, just wow. And it's difficult to say how blocky these actually are. If they are indeed triple changers, if they have to, if what are these? What are the what are the blocky things? Kyudama. If the Kyudama is a block of, the Kyudama has the electronics in it. I hope the Kyudama don't. They probably do have electronics in them, unfortunately. then more than likely all of them will have lights as well. So that thing I was bitching about where, individual electronics on a mass production scale, like these things, or like the Judenchi, or the engine souls, it's going to be that kind of thing all over again. So, so you've got your basic block of plastic. Nope, I got a better example. You've got your basic block of plastic, and then you have to base your humanoid form around this, which is not an easy thing to do, because your electronics have to be in the middle, and everything moves around it. Everything transforms around it. You can't have anything going through. You can't move the electronics around unless you're very, very cautious, and it gets even more expensive at that point. You have to have... This is not exactly the best example for me to be using Euphomuru. But I'll use it just to emphasize the fact that... how do I transform this? Okay. It's been a while and I didn't do it very much. Okay, here we go. The vehicle mode, or I'm sorry, the robot form is all well and good. But ultimately, this is dependent on having this around. Now, you don't have to have this plugged in. You do on the others, but ironically, on Euphomuru specifically, you don't have to have it plugged in, because if you did, it falls over. It's very back-heavy. But anyways, having a single block of electronic plastic gets in the way of this, and this is something that electronic toy makers have been playing or have been fighting in forever. So when I look at the KyuRanger, at first blush, it's neat that it's got this huge orb that glows in each of the corners, which is a great idea, which coincidentally is the exact same thing that the 2017 Megazord is going to be doing. Just saying. But I'm wondering for these alternate forms, how much are they going to be? Is it going to be a parts forming thing where you take something off and you put it somewhere else? And how much is that really going to look like a fish? I don't know. How much is it going to look like an eagle? Because, I mean, if you look at the eagles, the eagle from last year, this thing, everybody agreed this was not a good example of an eagle. I'm going to shrink down this a little bit just so I can see that at the same time. Maybe if I thought about that a little over an hour ago, I wouldn't have this issue. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. Hi down there. Hi. Everybody agrees this was not an eagle. This doesn't look like an eagle in any way, shape, or form. Even the head was arguably, but it very obviously has arms sticking out of it, and it very obviously has a big old combiner vagina. I can't make that joke and make it sound like Theo. I apologize. It doesn't look like an eagle in any way, shape, or form. And this was all wrapped around not the gimmick of being a block of plastic, because they did it fine in some of the others, but it was wrapped around the gimmick of the automorph thing. Of having the spring-loaded feature. That's what... Oh, come on. The spring-loaded gimmick is why the eagle did not transform very well. So a lot of people... Because, I mean, and even then, they could have had these keep these folded in, and then have them fold out at a later time, and not be springs. That's what they should have done. And they went with this instead. Ava, maybe if you got the mini plow kits, you wouldn't have to worry about a lot of this shit, because they're actually more posable, and they're more flexible, and they actually transform in better ways. Yeah, but the problem with that is they're smaller, and there's a lot of part swapping involved just to get it to transform from one mode to the other, and no. I want it pre-assembled, pre-painted, and I want it as big as possible. That's what my Zords are. So I look at this, and you've got that block of plastic. Well, it's nice to know the battery in this is still working. The one in my Shurikenjin, that battery doesn't work anymore. And yes, I did put the plastic tab in it, so to preserve the battery, because I knew that would happen, and it still burned out. But yeah, how just because the picture there is so fuzzy, I don't know if how these things are transforming is the tricky thing. Now here's something else. What if because not every single constellation is an animal. Some of them are humans. What if some of these, their animal form is a humanoid? Like, it's like saying, it's like what Ninja did. You had, or Shurikenjin specifically. Let's see, I'm going to put this away. What was kind of bizarre about Shurikenjin is it had an animal, the dragon, and the dog, but then it also had a train, high-speed train, a dump truck, and then it had a ninja. I'm sorry, it had a shinobi. Because they don't use the word ninja over there. Ninja is actually an Americanized term. Shinobi is the proper term. That was kind of the appeal of Shurikenjin. All the others afterwards, not so much. But and then Euphomuru is an alien and a spaceship at the same time. It's and a robot and a cyborg and whatever science fiction stands for over in Japan. And that was kind of the appeal of it for me, and the kind of the wow factor, like, what on earth are they? What does a dog, a train, a dump truck, a dragon, and a ninja have to do with each other? Like, you put all those together, and what do you get? You get different aspects of Japan. Oh, okay, and now it makes sense. Because construction and engineering, you get technology and transportation, you got mythology, you've got society, and you've got the kawaii. And then you've got the science fiction, or the fantasy side. So, okay, that theme makes sense. But it wasn't all based around animals. Like the elephant represents rock. Or the dragon represents water. It wasn't that. It was just, it's kind of the hidden subtext. Because I don't, okay, I'm not going to claim that. So, maybe that's what these things are trying to do. Not the Q-Dama. What are the individuals called? The Voyagers, I'm sorry. Maybe that's what the Voyagers are trying to say, is that each Voyager comes with a Q-Dama thing. And then you have the Q-Dama attaches to whether it's an animal or a humanoid or because they said one of them was like a telescope and Libra. It would be difficult to do Libra, which is scales, which is balance. It's difficult to do that with an animal. I don't know which animal you would do that with. I don't know. Maybe you couldn't do it with a snake or something like that. It would be difficult to come up with an animal. So maybe. But justice or balance is a human concept that doesn't appear in other animals. Please don't argue with me about this. I really don't give a shit. So maybe for this Gold Ranger here who represents Libra, his particular mecha might be a humanoid as opposed to an animal. Might be a humanoid constellation, a human constellation. And that makes sense. That works, if that's what these are. I don't know what the silver one is. I should actually pull up that other article at the same time. Let's see, what is silver? Silver. Yellow, green, pink, black, orange, gold. Orphanok. Orphan. I keep wanting to say Orphanok from Kamen Rider Fies, but that's totally not right. Hibitsukai. Hibitsukai silver? I don't know. I don't know what that one represents, but Tenbin gold is Libra. That's not something you can represent with an animal. Huh. I think I'm putting a lot of dead air in here at this point. Well, was it KyuRanger? That looks neat. I like that. The fact that all 5 spheres are going to be glowing at the same time. That's going to be neat. That's something they haven't done since KyuRanger. And then KyuRanger was kind of a cheat because what was it called? Pat Striker. In the TV show, there were lights in the shoulders, but the actual toys didn't have lights in the shoulders, but it did have it in the shins, and it did have it in the chest. They also have lights in the head. There were numerous lights, but the toy didn't do that. So it was kind of a cheat, and we all kind of knew it at the time, and we were kind of like, can you guys do it again, please? I'm hoping that you press a button on the back of the red one, and it kind of presses a little button on the inside of the other of the 4 limbs, and then all of them kick off at the same time. So they might not be able to talk to each other, and you trigger this one, and then it activates this one, which in turn activates this one, and all 3 of them are kind of coordinating with each other in terms of, like, this one knows that this one is connected. I don't think they're going to be able to talk to each other that way, because that would involve, like, infrared or radio communication or something like that. So that won't happen. But it's just going to be a simple, just a peg in the hole, and yeah, I know that motion looks kind of weird. It's going to be a peg in the hole thing, and it's just going to say, so, like, they're probably going to have electronics in. Let me try that again. They're probably smart enough to know that there's another thing plugged into it. But I don't know how they're all going to talk to each other at the same time, or at least know that. I think the red one, it might be a case of because I can't diagnose transformation process yet. I can't do that because these are too fuzzy. I can't see it. But right now, I would say I'm flipping back and forth between the Voyagers and KyuRanger. At first blush, it looks neat. I like it. Is that? Oh, I see. Okay. Wow. Wow. We got a space theme. And we, not astrology. That's the word I was looking for. Astrology. And we got, constellations at the same time. Yeah, there's animals involved in it, but there's other things involved as well. So at first blush, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oh God, more animals. I mean, you saw my initial reaction. I was like, oh God, why more animals? So I will give the constellations the benefit of the doubt that not all of them are going to be not all of them are going to be animals. I'm hoping that not all of them are animals. Because there's a whale, there's a microscope, Andromeda, Perseus, and Hound. I think the Hound they're referring to is Sirius. For you Harry Potter fans out there, Sirius Black was named after a little dog, by the way. I like the comment that says in here, can you feel the Grand Caesar vibe in this one? I'm looking at Wild Tosai King over here and thinking about all the cubes and all the bitching that I did at the beginning. And I still have that hesitation. There's still that side of me that says, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because in the last 7, 8 years, the other shoe always drops. And, like, it might have started strong, like the Ninja started strong. And then the shoe dropped. And you got an elephant that turned into a mecha where it didn't even have opposable arms. And you had a little surfboard guy, which, the surfboard, the little surfboard dude looked okay, but like the surfboard standing on the thing, that looked bad. That was really bad. And then you had the cowboy thing, which at first blush seemed nice, but then when you realized what an asshole Ninja Gold was, it took the fun out of it. And then you looked at how Bison King combines together, and you said, what the hell is going on here? And then you got the giant lion Hao thing, or whatever it's called. Tetagami Lyo, or no, that's something else. So these pictures have only been out for 2 days as of this recording. And these are all initial. So I'm waiting. I'm in that mode of it can't last. It can't be this good. Because we've got a henshin device that looks crazy except for the massive, obviously censored text that was slapped across the top of it. You've got a combined weapon thing, which I love the hell out of. This thing is awesome. It's a little dinky. This particular toy is kind of dinky, so it got close, but not quite. So it's not perfect. And then you've got a crazy. Well, it's not as crazy as this is. It's not as obscure as this is. So far, so good. Now, there's a picture of the belt. I not just noticed, but looks like the belt's just kind of, it exists. Whatever. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. 9 Rangers. A core team of... How does that even work? How? Maybe KyuRanger takes a cue. Sorry, I'm not trying to do that pun. Maybe it takes its cue. Maybe it's closer to Transformers Combiner Wars than I realized. Because in Combiner Wars, every arm is also capable of serving as a leg, and it's the torso that stays the same. That's true for all of them, with the exception of what's he called, Devastator. With the exception of that one. And I'm wondering, because I'm looking at this one picture here, it looks like the chest, the torso, the head remains the same, and then the limbs will swap. That makes sense, because that's a gimmick where it's limb swap, but it's already built in from the get-go, and you don't have to worry about getting accessory mecha. All you have to do is swap the limbs. It's already built in as the gimmick. You might have this, but this is part of your accessory mecha, but they're not going to be treated as accessory mecha. This will be interesting how they do this. And again, it also depends. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I've been at this for over an hour and a half. What the hell? I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I've been disappointed so much in the last 7 years, which I already spent a half hour, complaining about. I've been disappointed for so long. Dare I let myself hope on this one? Dare I? Because there's that side of me that the little bit of satisfaction that I got out of this. This is as far as these two things, and this is as far as I went with the series, and it's not enough because I want to get the whole thing. I want the whole thing to be satisfying, not the first mecha, one accessory that actually came out further on down the line, and then that's it. No, I want the whole thing. I want another Samurai Ha-Oh where I didn't like all of it. There's one or two things I really hate about it, but I was willing to put the money and the effort into getting all of it, and then at the end of the day, yes, it was worth it. That's what I'm looking at right now. The other thing, the trend is the limbs are what you swap out back and forth. And what concerns me is another thing that Bandai America, right? Bandai America, screw that. Is the change in the trend where your first mecha has a gimmick, your second mecha does something completely different that ignores everything that was set up beforehand. So an example would be Shinken-O, the origami had both an animal form and a badge form, so they were triple changers. Not one single origami after that did that. Instead, every single origami after that was based around the Hiden discs. And the Hiden discs were a neat gimmick, except for the fact that the first 5 origami didn't use them, and were actually better as a result of it, because when you tried to get the spinning thing, and then, yeah. So I've got excitement for what I've seen so far, but I'm worried. Has Bandai and Plex, have they finally crossed that line of don't lose it, Ava. Don't lose it. This is a lifelong. Have they finally gotten over that hurdle of simplified transformations? The electronic gimmick, these aren't going away anytime soon, I guess. Which, you either like these or you don't. You can't really. So it looks like they haven't gotten away from that, and very much they're not. So if even with these what are the damn things called again? Kyudama. I gotta remember that. So the Kyudama are essentially the same thing as these. The Nin Shurikens. But have they gotten over the edge of the secondary Robo, the 6th Ranger's Robo, the Carrier Robo, all of those having the whole series of mecha having the same gimmick all the way through? That's what worries me. Or if your Carrier can downscale, still has the gimmick, but downscales it, Because, there's another gimmick that it's going to bring in that's unique to that one, which is allowed. Which, even I allow for that. Why was it this for the 40th anniversary? Bandai, Plex, Toei? Why didn't you do this? Regardless of how this turns out, why didn't you? This is a hell. This is a hell of a lot more interesting than fucking cubes. A hell of a lot more interesting. It's not the all dragons like we wanted. It's not the all insects like we wanted, and it's kind of space themes. It's not space themes. It's constellation based. All right, okay, and there's a little bit of mythology. You can kind of mix mythology in with that theme. So you've got mythos, legend, history, all kind of pulled along together with that. So that's a good. It's not courage or your nintality. It's about or cubes. Like, what the hell was the theme in KyuRanger? I don't know what was their theme. It was cubes. Judy calls. I'm excited, but I'm scared at the same time. That's kind of how this video started. This is a good step in the right direction. This is a good step in the right direction. This is starting the healing process. This tells me Bandai knows. This tells me that Plex knows that they've been slacking off. And they're actively trying to do something about it. Maybe Space Deleter scared them. The reaction that people like me had, the reaction to the Space Deleter, the Giant Saber stuff. It doesn't matter that they're trying to answer a space-themed Sentai series with a space-themed Super Sentai. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to say, well, we'll show you how it's done. Is Uchuu Sentai KyuRanger in response to Space Deleter? It might be. I don't know. Whether it is or not connected to Space Deleter, this is a step in the right direction. This is a good thing. Now, I said that when the Ninja made its announcement. I said it then too. And I wasn't thrilled with where it turned out. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. And with that, my name is Ava Unit 4A. Thank you very much for tuning in.